Hey, we are black again, man. I'm sorry. I was trying to get in. This is part 2, just to let everybody know. We are definitely in part 2 of the recording. This is definitely part 2. The remix, man, sorry about that early this morning, Tasha. Cox Cable is on some bullshit, man. Had some motherfucking problems with the internet. And it wasn't my shit, because you know they always try to make you feel like it's your shit. So I stopped everything, because I was like, man, what the fuck is going on with the internet? So then, long story short, the shit wasn't working. It ain't been working all day, so I just been reading and chilling, watching my regular DirecTV. That's why you don't just put all your trust in one thing, because then you fuck. So I just went back to kind of reading and shit. But I played the video earlier about the cops getting dumped on by that attack, but it's war on black folk. That shit is real. And the reason why I say it's real, because they show you one snippet. They want it to be a nigga, so they can get him justification to do what the fuck they want to do. So I just thought I would give y'all a part 2 of this shit. Let me cut this shit down, man. I had the music going, man. Oh my God, this shit all day. But I said, man, I gotta continue, because the first one was only 15. No, I think it was only like 15 minutes. So I had to do a part 2. And this is a real war on black folk. And it's real. And the reason why I say it's real, man, because I was looking at Roderick, let me see his last name. Walker, the Uber driver. He was the Uber passenger. I think he was a Lyft passenger. He just riding. And he didn't want to show his ID, so they started beating the shit out of him. So y'all gotta understand, man. This war doesn't end. It doesn't stop. This is what's going on. My advice would be to every young black brother: when you leave your house, you are in danger. So you need to understand this is war. This is not play. Like, I think everybody think it's for play and oh well, I'm not tripping. My thing is, why do we always give the dominant society a benefit of a doubt, but you won't give a nigga the benefit of a doubt? The dominant society could fuck you over on a business deal. They could fuck you over at the car plantation. You still keep giving them chances, right? But a black person could just not pay you $1 back. Fuck that nigga. That nigga owe me $1. Nigga, $1? Nigga, but you got $100 in your pocket right now. It don't matter though. You still owe me $1. We'll do that with each other all day long, all day strong. But when it comes to the dominant white society, we are more than forgiving of what they have done to us. And I was watching this podcast, and on the podcast, what I was watching and what I didn't like, what I didn't like, but one of the people in the chat, I just was like, because they was like, yeah, we need therapy. I was like, no, the dominant white society needs the therapy because they're the ones that are insane to enslave black folk for 450 goddamn years. What? Then after you enslave us for 450 years, then after that, you pretend like you don't owe us any money. Then after that, you put us in this rat race with all these other racial groups and then use the minority and the people of color and all these other broad and ambiguous terms as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches us, and then have us thinking like you really are for us by giving us Kamala Harris. But yet, she said nothing about reparations for black folk. Stop. Stop it. See, these are the things that we need to look at and we need to understand. And why everybody is simping for law enforcement. When is law enforcement gonna simp for us? Like the sheriff of LA County gonna say, well, I was actually kind of pissed off. Well, that's how black folks feel every time we get pulled over by a white or a white Hispanic officer and they want to shoot to kill Officer Yanez in Minnesota when he shot and killed Philando Castile, which was on Facebook Live, which nobody's talking about. George Floyd, Eric Gardner, who need I say more? Alton Sterling, Walter Scott, Sandra Bland. Come on, you got all these people that we talking about, but you mad as hell because 2 officers got dumped on. Well, that's how black folks feel every day. Matter of fact, that's how black folks have felt the last 450 years. This is war. That's why when you drive, don't drive crazy. Understand what's going on. Know that you can get pulled over anytime and you are at their will. I don't care if you know the law. You know the law all you want. And be an arrogant person that know the law. They can still say gun and shoot. So stop thinking that it's all good because you know the law. Knowing the law don't mean shit. You better understand how this shit works. You better understand it. Because it's not going away. You're like, what do you mean it's not going away? No, it's not going away. You know what I mean? I notice now everybody, they're talking about Breonna Taylor. And everybody's been in the need for Breonna Taylor. They don't give a fuck. White people don't give a fuck about end racism. Look, let me tell you something. And I'm going to play that too. Matter of fact, I'm about to play this right now. Let's see what they talking about. Then I'm going to play the other one. Let's talk about this. End racism. Let's see. Lewis Hamilton invokes Breonna Taylor at Grand Prix. Let's see. We're about to play it right now. I hope it ain't no motherfucking commercials. Because if this is commercials, that's not happening. We not doing no commercials. That's what we not doing. Sorry. I hate commercials. We not selling shit. We don't get paid for commercial ads. So fuck out of here. Only commercial you gonna hear is my ass, my black ass talking. So we don't do the commercials over here. And what I don't like about it too is you got one half of people talking about end racism. Well, if white people want to end racism, they can end it tomorrow. They can end it tomorrow if they really wanted to end it. But I want to play this clip. Let's see what's going on.
In the past years, I've had racist names being called to me. The first time it happened, I felt really upset. I told my mum and dad, and I felt like I needed to get revenge on them.
I grew up in a sport that has really given my life meaning, but I've actually grown up in a sport that has very little to no diversity, and I think it's an issue that we're continually facing.
Yeah, that's true.
Since his earliest days in motorsport, Lewis Hamilton's fight has been much greater than just his battles on the track. In recent weeks, his voice has been stronger than ever, calling for change in and beyond motorsport through a string of powerful social media posts.
You know, it's largely a white male-dominated world, and it has been for since the sport started in 1950s. It's probably the most exclusive sport in many ways. Hamilton will want to push forward change, so it isn't like that for.
You notice they're not really talking about shit. They're talking about pushing for a change, all this other shit, but they more talking about, they're just trying to make a phenomenon out of a black person being in the Indy 500s and the NASCAR shit. So basically, they just trying to focus more on that, but y'all not focusing on the racism though. Let's focus on the racism, the anti-black racism. That's what I want to talk about. If you want, don't use Breonna Taylor as no hashtag, and you talk about all this other bullshit.
For the years to come.
Winner of the Texas Challenge Trans Am.
If you don't want me in your sport, then beat me.
Hamilton is the first and only black driver to compete in Formula One in the sport's 70-year history. But it could have been different. American Willie T. Ribbs was the first black driver to test an F1
See? The first black driver
car back in 1985. For him, the journey ended there, but in Hamilton, he sees a true pioneer.
He is the leader. He is the band leader, Lewis Hamilton, and he's not afraid. He hasn't broken any laws. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't embarrassed the sport. He's broadened the sport worldwide to people of color. He has the right to take a position and take a stand for humanity. That's what he's doing.
No, there's no taking a stand for humanity. He's taking a stand for native black folk that are being treated unjustly in this system of racism and white supremacy. See, that's why they love sticking the camera in dumb black folks' faces, because they just get to spouting out and running their mouth and saying anything that come to their head.
And it's not just words. Lewis has set up the Hamilton Commission, a new research partnership aimed at making motorsport more diverse and multicultural. And Formula One itself has announced the...
Multicultural means just adding Latinos and Asians and everyone else. That doesn't mean making it fair for black folk. I'm playing this so y'all can get an understanding of how they can use Breonna Taylor but not talk about her.
We Race as One campaign to tackle the issues of diversity and inclusion both on and off the track.
Diversion and inclusion, those are broad, ambiguous terms. Diversion, nothing. Diverse, you can put Cubans in there. See, this is about anti-black racism. This isn't about including everyone else and saying multicultural. That's just basically meaning you're putting everybody like a gumbo. Well, we don't want a gumbo. We want black, negro. That's what we need right now. We don't want to talk about everybody else. We can get to everybody else once we get what is owed to us first. See, that's what black folks need to understand. Stop trying to include everybody else in your struggle. See, I don't include everybody else in my struggle. Like I told you before, I remember I had this talk with a Latino brother, cool Latino brother. But I said, but brother, you didn't build this country. Native black people built this country. And he was just like, yeah, you're right about that. I said, I have too many books that I have read that's documented history of what we've done for this country. So, you know, I think that's doing a disservice to try to take claim and take victory with black folk like everybody else built the country. No, that's not cool.
So it could prove a landmark year for both the sport and Lewis as he starts the new season looking to claim that record-equaling 7th World Championship title that would take him level with Michael Schumacher.
He can deal with everything off the track, but when he gets in the car, he's the animal, he's the racer, he's the speedy driver that's and to potentially equal Michael was incredible, really, because it was a feat that no one thought that anyone would get anyone anyone would get near to.
Talent-wise, Lewis was the greatest in the world. He's on another planet, and will be anointed as the greatest of all time in the end.
He's the driver who's been setting new standards on the track throughout his career.
But you're not saying nothing about Breonna Taylor. But you used her name for the article on CNN.
Perhaps in 2020, his impact will be felt much further afield than ever. Amanda Davis, CNN.
Let me tell y'all something, man. It is war on black folk. Why, Warren? It's war on black folk because I just played an article about this man. Let's see what his name is. Lewis Hamilton, right? Remembering Breonna Taylor. But the whole footage that y'all just heard, they didn't mention Breonna Taylor not one goddamn time. But when you go on CNN.com, guess what they talking about? Breonna Taylor. She's trending. Stop. But you look, let me tell you what everybody else is. Everybody else is worried about the NFL. Let me touch on this real quick. I watched a snippet of it. Ain't nobody in the stand and they playing football. So while all you dumbass niggas was jumping around because they built this clown-ass Allegiant Stadium out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, I want to see how much of you dumbass niggas is going to be jumping around when you ain't got no job to get to pay for those bills so you can watch a damn football game or drive to go see one. So that's what your asses get. See, y'all think y'all know what's best for y'all. No, they already know what's best for y'all. To do whatever the fuck they want to do. And then y'all just go along with it because any smart person would have been like, wait, hold on. Wait, if y'all put this football stadium in, who gonna pay for it? Nah, that's one too. Taxes gonna go up. That means more people gonna be here. Yeah, that's good for the city. That doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be good for you. Just because they say, look, in the great words of Master P, just because you white don't mean you right. And you got a whole bunch of white people running game on the dumb, poor black folk. And you got more, I've heard more dumb, poor black folks talking about, yeah, man, it's gonna be good for the city. I'm like, okay, right. So why don't y'all go ask all those employees that work for McCarran Airport that just got laid off if it's good for them? Go ask MGM if it's good for them. Go ask Texas Station and the Fiesta and all these other casinos that are laying off people because it's COVID-19. Go ask them if it's good for them. But you got a football stadium, though. Nigga, this is gonna affect black people in tremendous ways. Y'all just don't even know yet because y'all don't get it. Because y'all so hyped up on sports. That's why. Because y'all so busy reading the back of motherfuckers' jerseys on the NBA talking about vote. Man, I'm watching this damn, I ain't even watched the whole Clipper game, but I'm watching the Clipper game and I'm listening to the commentary talking about, you know, that coach from the Denver Nuggets, a white man talking about, well, I've talked to the team and he talked to the team and thought, you know, it's very important for him to go out and vote. Now, the majority of these NBA basketball players, they're dumb as fuck, so they don't even understand. But the average black person would be like, well, why would you encourage me to vote in a system that has systematically oppressed my people and have done nothing but bring harm to black folk in this country? I guarantee you that white boy would have been like, well, yeah, it could help out. Help out how? The only thing I'm voting for is reparations. That is owed to black folks for us building this country that you benefit from, not us. Black folks ain't benefit from none of this shit yet. But then I have another black person that's a Sambora coon tell you, well, you know, man, black people are making strides. Stop it. Because Michael Jordan owns the fucking Charlotte Hornets. Stop. Y'all motherfuckers better wake up and understand what the fuck is going on. This shit is not here for you. It's here to distract you. You in the matrix. Dumb motherfuckers. That's why niggas can't wait to get to, I can't wait to go vote. Yeah, go vote for who? For Joe Biden? Man, stop. You like when, but Warren, you talking about it's war. Let me tell you why it's war. Because I'm about to play this article right now. And I want to show you why it's war. Let me pause this shit. Yeah, I'm going to show you why it's war.
Video that got a deputy sheriff in Georgia placed on leave. It shows a black man being pinned and beaten during an arrest, and it is provoking outrage online. ABC's Elwin Lopez is in Atlanta with much more. Elwin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. At least one Clayton County deputy is on leave and under investigation following that arrest video, but the sheriff's office has yet to comment on what led up to this incident.
This morning, outrage after this disturbing video posted online. Witnesses capturing the footage on Friday, showing deputies in Georgia pinning a man down. At least one of the deputies punching the man in the face, shouting that the man was biting him. That's Roderick Walker. His attorney says the father of 4 and his girlfriend had just dropped off their rental car and...
Now, I can't screen share. I got to figure out how to do that too, but it doesn't matter. There's a sister yelling and screaming, which she's not on code, because all you're doing is making it worse, and you're letting your emotions get the best of you. If you're not going to jump in and help this brother, then shut the fuck up and just do your job by recording it. Screaming and hollering and all that, that's that bullshit. We got to stop that, man. Screaming and hollering, all you're doing, that to me, you're making it worse. Look, if you're not going to jump in it with your man and take that L with your man, just shut the fuck up and just keep recording it and tell him, hold on, baby. Hold on. Don't worry about it. I'm recording everything. Just don't trip. I'm recording everything. Fuck these motherfuckers. I'm recording everything. Y'all got to be on code. Stop all this screaming and hollering and shouting and shit and crying and shit. These motherfuckers don't give a fuck about y'all. So y'all hollering and screaming and shouting, you just making it worse. Stop being so goddamn scary sometimes. And well, look, let me tell you something. I remember when I was with my ex-girlfriend, this was 20 years of ex-bitch I was fucking with. We got pulled over out here in Vegas. This is before they had the outlet mall and all. This is 20 years ago. We got pulled over. I told her, don't say shit and just shut the fuck up. I'll do all the talking. They pull us over. The first thing they asked for, do you know where you're going? It was some shit that they said. I said, yeah, I'm going home. Well, where do you live? And I told them where I live. And they said, you have your license registration. Well, all my shit was registered to California. So I already knew, well, you're not going to be able to pull up nothing on me, homie, because I ain't got no tickets out here, and I'm from Cali. So you don't have jurisdiction on that shit, so you're not going to pull nothing up. And you really can't, you can impound my car, but all my shit is up to date. So they look at the shit, well, whose car is it? I told them whose car, my car. Woo, woo, woo. So they looking, you mind searching the car? And I was like, well, you need to search the car for. And they were like, oh, well, because we got a call. I said, okay, no problem. So they had us out. They searched me. They searched the girl I was with. And then, she kind of started to get nervous. Shit, I said, just get out, don't say shit. And look, I'm scary as it is, but I knew if I acted a fool, it was going to be problems. Now, it went from one officer to 4 more goddamn squad cars pulling up. Now, this is over there by the Las Vegas premium outlets. The people that live in Las Vegas know this is before they built any of that shit. That Brain Center wasn't over there. The World Market Center wasn't. It wasn't nothing but a bunch of pile of dirt. That's all it was over there. And then they had carved out a little dirt road by the train tracks and shit. This is before the Southern Nevada Water Authority was there. None of that shit was over there then. It was just a big-ass pile of dirt. It's just big desert right there in the Clark County building. That's all that was over there. Now, look, they had us out. They searching me, grabbing all on my nuts, just doing all, just trying to be funny. And I'm like, damn, you got to do all that? And they like, yeah, man, we just got to make sure. I said, well, you already asked me if I had anything on me, and I told you I didn't. And they like, well, we just need to make sure. And I said, well, you still have my license, my registration. So now I'm questioning. I'm just kind of like, okay, so you going to give my stuff back? Oh, we got to check it. I said, okay, well, do y'all, and in my mind, I'm like, well, do y'all have jurisdiction over California? Or we just need to check to make sure you don't have no tickets and warrants. I'm like, okay. So then they go, then another car pulls up. So now the other white cop, this was 20 years ago, I'll never forget this. The other white cop, now he's starting to, how long have you been out here? And I said, long enough to register for college. And he was like, oh, you go to college? I was like, yeah, I go to CSN. It was CCSN then. And he was just like, oh, okay. He was just like, and what are you going to school for? And I was like, why does that matter? And he was just like, oh, I'm just asking you. I was like, but why does that matter? Y'all pulled me over. Y'all got me out the car. Y'all searched me. Y'all going all through my car. I'm not even from here. I just registered for school. You asked me, what does that matter? I already told you where I live. Okay, well, we just need to verify. And I was like, verify what? So then another squad car pulls up. It's just me and this bitch I was fucking with. And then my relatives, they know who the girl was at the time. This was 20 years ago. So then she kind of calmed down. And then she looking at me, and then they're like, okay. And then they had us put our hands on the hood and all this other shit. And I just remember, and I just kept saying, but why are you asking me these questions? And I was like, okay, can I get my license back? So then they give me my license back. And I was like, yeah, you didn't give me my insurance and my registration. So then they finally give it back to me after 45 minutes. I have us sitting there the whole fucking time. And then they were like, oh, we got a call that there was a car stolen. And I said, well, what kind of car was it? It was a Honda Accord. I was like, this is a Ford Contour. That doesn't look nothing like that car. And I was like, all right, man. And it was just like, okay, well, I was like, man, just give me my stuff. And at the time, I think they didn't know if I was going to complain. They didn't know what was going on. They probably didn't really know who I knew. They didn't really know nothing about me. But it was like 8 officers there just standing up, just looking at us. But they didn't have us in handcuffs, but they had the lights going. And I noticed then, and the reason why I'm telling this story is because back then in Vegas, there was a channel you can watch where it had all the cameras in Las Vegas. And there were cameras at every light. This was 20 years ago. Vegas had cameras on every light and had cameras on the freeway. This ain't nothing new. People think this technology is new. So I just remember that hey, what's going on, by this passenger? I see you, bro. So I just remember at the time, I just was like, all right, well, let me not get too involved because I don't know if there's no cameras in this area and I don't want them doing nothing and fucking me up, and then we can't get it on camera or nothing like that. So I just kind of like kept to myself or whatever. And then after that, what I did was I just didn't say nothing, and they finally gave my shit back, and then we left after 45 minutes. But they didn't search my car, went through all my shit, made my shit a mess. So I'm telling you right now, it's war on us. This been war on us. This ain't nothing new. This been a war. Don't get it twisted.
Shortly after, they say Clayton County deputies pulled that car over for an alleged broken taillight.
Despite Roderick not being a driver, was a passenger, they immediately approached him, asked him for his ID. He informed them that he did not have any ID and that he didn't need any since he was not driving a vehicle.
Thank you. But why are you asking him for his ID? And I've had that done to me before, too.
That's when Walker's attorney says his client was asked to step out of the car.
It escalates to him being beaten on the ground, being tased, and almost dying. And they take him to jail.
His young child heard in the video.
This is something new to us. Very sad, emotional, hysterical, just hurt because I wasn't there to protect him.
Walker's attorney says the driver was not charged.
Man, y'all niggas should see this nigga's face. This nigga look like Martin after he fought Tommy the Hitman Hearns on Martin, if y'all didn't see Martin. That's fucked up, man. I'm just telling y'all right now, he looks fucked up. They fucked him up for real. Like they fucked him up. No cap, as y'all would say. They fucked him up.
But his client is now in jail, facing 2 counts of battery and 2 counts of obstruction of an officer.
Jacob Blake, they had Jacob Blake handcuffed to the bed. He can't even go nowhere. They had him handcuffed to the bed. So if he can't go nowhere, they had him handcuffed to a bed. Then what would y'all think they gonna do to him? That's why I said it's war on black folk. I'm not feel sorry for the law officers because they got dumped on. Man, stop. That was probably done internally. That could have been the feds, the CIA. I don't put nothing past these people to run interference and run a distraction. Look, just like the young brother in Atlanta who was found in a wrestling mat. And then when she went to the corner, they was like, you need to check your son's organs. Is he an organ donor? She was like, no, he didn't have none of his organs, which let me know that those white boys that was in there had him killed. And then people that were in a position of power stripped him of his organs and sold it on the black market. I know that's what they did. I've heard Dick Gregory talk about it a million times. I know that's what they did. If y'all don't think that they selling black organs, y'all motherfuckers is out y'all mind. Black organs are the most powerful. What do you mean? We got the melanin. We can regenerate. We can do what they can. They can't do any of these things. Let me tell y'all something. If they could find out that LeBron James has even tasted steroids, they would tarnish his image so fucking bad. There's more anti-black racism than there is non-anti-black racism. But trust and believe you me, like his wife, his beautiful black wife, was making sea moss. Don't be surprised if they make it where sea moss is illegal. You can't use that in the NBA. Because that's what his wife be making them, sea moss. So please believe you me. They're going to make it where herbs, you can't even use herbs no more. So trust and believe you me. That brother, they wanted to kill Roderick. They wanted to kill that brother. They just didn't get a chance because they knew they were being filmed and they knew it was in broad daylight. But trust and believe you me, if he was smart, he'd get the fuck out of Dodge. He'd sue they black asses, put a lien on their bonds, and get the fuck away from them white folk.
People that need to be in jail are the officers who attacked him and violated his civil rights.
And Walker's attorney says they now want an independent investigation outside of the sheriff's office. Whit?
Elwin Lopez in Atlanta for us. Thank you for that story. And don't forget to tune in to...
Wow. So you just beat the shit out of him because he riding in an Uber or a Lyft. So you just beat the fuck out of him. And look, let me tell you something. They offer $100,000 reward for if somebody could come up with the ambush shooter in L.A. Now watch some coon-ass, Sambo-ass nigga be like, I know who shot him. That type of shit. Stop. I don't want to hear that shit, man. Let's see. Now I'm about to play this. I'm going to play a series of things, and I want to see what they going to say. Because, man, I think it's time for us to wake up. Now, you notice they beat the fuck out of Roderick, though. They beat the fuck out of that nigga. I mean, he's fucked up. Roderick Walker is fucked up. But they want you to be worried about the motherfucking law enforcement. But they came up with that $100,000, though. So basically, they put $100,000 on whoever's head it was to see if somebody turned. Watch they turn up to 200,000 or 300,000. They want somebody to snitch. But if I was us, we need to be like the blue line. Matter of fact, since y'all doing that for y'all, then why don't we do it for the blue line? When a white officer kills a black person, let's put $100,000 out there to see who else comes out and snitch on his bad behavior. Because let me tell you something, when a white officer kills a black person, please believe you, there have been multiple offenses of this Caucasian officer doing things to black people. Trust and believe you me. A white person that does not possess anti-black racism in their heart, they don't just wake up one day and be like, I want to go fuck over some niggas. No, this has been going on for years. And they have probably been disciplined about it. Trust and believe you me. And don't think Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump is going to stop it. Just know with Donald Trump, you know what you're getting. With Joe Biden, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what the fuck that bitch is going to do or say. Please believe you me. Let's see what the fuck they talking about with these poor law enforcement that got ambushed.
Sheriff's officers critically wounded in an ambush. News overnight, 2 Los Angeles County sheriff's officers critically wounded in an ambush, shot point blank through their patrol car window. ABC's Zareen Shaw joins us from Los Angeles with more. Good morning, Zareen.
Good morning, Eva. This morning, the suspect who ambushed 2 Los Angeles deputies in Compton last night is still on the run. Surveillance video shows a man dressed in black walking to their deputy car, holding out a gun, shooting multiple times, and then running off. The deputies were parked, sitting inside their vehicle in what appeared to be a well-lit area.
Probably eating donuts.
Near the Compton Metro Station, very close to their own sheriff's station. They were alert enough right after the shooting to radio in their own help. Their department tweeting they are both still fighting for their lives and in critical condition. Those deputies were identified as a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old and a 24-year-old man. They were both just sworn in 14 months ago, according to the sheriff. Now, the president has tweeted about the incident, and the FBI is also now offering its help.
Now the FBI is offering its help. Now, that brother that I talked about on Netflix, Shawnee remembers who I was talking about on Netflix. Now, the brother I was talking about on Netflix, who we clearly know he was killed by some anti-black racists. He had his body hid for weeks, and then the family went out there, and all of a sudden, his body was found. And then all of a sudden, now the FBI wants to get involved 15 years later. And so it took 15 years for the FBI to get involved with a black man being killed by some white people, but a police officer, 2 police officers get dumped on, not killed, but dumped on. Now all of a sudden the FBI want to help out. This is the same FBI who orchestrated the assassination of Fred Hampton with the Chicago Police Department. Go read. It's a book about Fred Hampton. Very, very good book. I liked it. I thought it was great. Some people won't. Maybe some people do. But I liked how it really, really captured how the judicial system works for white people. But it's set up to work against black folk. And black people, for some sort of reason, well, man, you got to know your rights. Okay, well, even if you know your rights, nigga, that don't mean shit. They'll just change the goalposts. They don't give a fuck about you. First of all, you don't have no rights. You got privileges and immunities. You don't have no fucking rights. So stop walking around and talking about, well, the 14th Amendment means this and the 15th Amendment. Good for you that you know that, nigga. I'm white. I say so. Like Tariq Nasheed says all the time, which is true. And they gonna do what the fuck they want to do. That's real.
Finding the suspect.
An alarming story. All right, Zareen, thank you.
So I don't want to hear that shit.
I'm a Verizon.
Motherfucker acting like well, I know my rights. Well, good, nigga. I'm glad you know your rights. And I'm glad you also know that we about to take your black ass to jail, nigga. Fuck out of here. They don't give a fuck about that shit. Just like that white man was choking the shit out of that dog. They said this nigga said he gonna take therapy. Then why they didn't do to him what they did to Mike Vick? Oh, he didn't kill the dog. Well, apparently he's probably had history of being volatile towards dogs before. And they had a whole campaign against Michael Vick. A whole campaign against him. They just didn't like his black ass. That's because Mike Vick probably wasn't no smiley motherfucker. I don't want to hear that shit, man. Y'all motherfuckers better wake up and understand what the fuck is going on. Because this shit is not for motherfuckers to mistake it as some other shit. Shit is real, man. No, but motherfuckers is telling you to go vote for motherfucking Joe Biden. Man, get the fuck out of here. Motherfuckers don't give a fuck about y'all niggas. When motherfuckers gonna wake up? They more concerned about the Latino vote than they would ever be. Look, that's exactly why they ain't said shit about black folk. This war is real. And it isn't just volatile, it's chemical warfare. It's look at the food. You damn near gotta go through and fucking be on some Dr. Sebi, Layla Africa, Tahuti Ma'ara type shit to at least get through the week of the food that you eat, because the food is so toxic and so fucked up. It's like, god damn. But you want to tell me to vote for Joe Biden? First of all, let's get on Kamala Harris again. This bitch said on the Breakfast Club, go watch the Breakfast Club interview. Let me see if I can find the Breakfast Club interview when the bitch was talking about she listened to Tupac and Snoop when she was in college. But Tupac's first album was 91 and Tupac and Snoop was 92. That bitch was in college in the 80s. But motherfuckers want to say that Kamala Harris, man, get the fuck out of here, man. That bitch don't give a fuck about no niggas. But niggas want to sit up here, and then they gonna use Breonna Taylor. That shit blows my mind. They would use Breonna Taylor's name as an article and show this motherfucker kneeling, and then you play the video, and it's just talking about him and what he's done for the sport. Boy, only in America they do that. Nigga, don't use my name unless you talking about my instance and my shit, my issues. Don't use my name for some other shit. Fuck out of here, man. What's the problem? Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. YouTube. Let's see. Now that the internet is finally goddamn working, after 12 hours of the shit not working, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Kamala Harris talking about listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg in college. Let's see if I can find it. On the Breakfast Club. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see. Play-by-play of Kamala admitting she smoked weed. No. Kamala said she listened to Tupac and Biggie. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna play this shit.
Senator Kamala Harris said in a radio interview she used to smoke pot to the sounds of Snoop Dogg and Tupac Shakur while in college, but their breakthrough albums didn't come out until she had all.
Man, somebody already narrated. Now let's go back.
I wanted to always.
Nah, I want to play this for y'all so y'all can hear this shit. This bitch talking about you listening to Snoop Dogg and Tupac while she was in college, and then the motherfucker like, bitch, you was in college in the 80s.
In her never-ending attempt to pretend that she has had a blacker American experience than what
come on, man,
black audiences to go carry hot sauce in my bag everywhere I go.
It's always something. Come on,
She was asked if she smoked marijuana. She said, "Oh yeah, it brings a lot of joy to." I mean, half of my family is Jamaican.
Yeah, she did say that. He ain't lying about that, but my nigga, I can't play that. You bullshit.
What do you listen to? Because I know she has to go. So what does?
Here we go. I finally found it. Here we go. We about to play this shit. This is y'all lovely Kamala Harris.
What do you listen to? Because I know she has to go. So what does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song was it?
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac for sure.
What do you listen to now? What's your favorite?
You was listening to Tupac and Snoop, but you was in college and because you said you smoked weed when you was in college. Okay, so if you smoked weed when you was in college, how was you listening to Snoop and Tupac? They didn't come out to the 90s. Bitch, you was in college in the 80s. Guilty, nigga. You was a motherfucking lie. Bitch, the only thing you're telling the truth about is being somebody's side bitch. And this is who y'all want to vote for. So this is who y'all want to vote for. So while y'all motherfuckers want to go and vote, play this for somebody. So you gonna vote for a bitch that can't even tell the truth about what she was listening to when she was in college? You just said Tupac and Snoop because that's probably the only rappers that you could think of. So you couldn't think of, let's see who was out in the 80s. Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. Who else was out in the 80s? EPMD. Who else was out in the 80s? Salt and Pepper. Who else was out in the 80s? There were so many people that was out in the 80s, but you named Tupac and Snoop. Bitch is a liar. But this is who the fuck y'all talking about y'all gonna vote for. Man, I gotta play it one more time just so y'all can hear. Just so y'all can hear it from the beginning. Y'all need to hear it from the beginning.
What do you listen to? Because I know she has to go. So what does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on?
You heard it. Charlamagne the God said, what were you listening to when you were high? And she only smoked weed when she was in college. If you listen to the whole interview, that's exactly what she said. Yeah, I smoked weed when I was in college.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac for sure.
What do you listen to now? What's your favorite hip hop?
Tupac for sure. Wow. Tupac didn't come out to 91, right? 91 is when Pac came out. Cause in the 80s, what was he? Digital Underground, right? Yeah. So, what a lie.
That's not what's your favorite artist.
You know who I really love is Cardi B.
You like Cardi B?
I really do.
Okay.
I really do. Everybody gets really just jokes. Sometimes I just turn on "Be Careful of Me."
That's your favorite.
What a fake, phony, mammy laugh that is. I need to play the mammy music for this bitch. Mammy, mammy. Oh man, but that's who y'all gonna vote for. Hey, tuning in, brother. Let's get it. The Afro pick is dope. 70s, loving it. Hey, man, what's going on, Wendy? Man, my podcast would have been done 8 hours ago, but I was explaining it before. Cox Cable had a problem with the internet, allegedly. Not my end, but you know they're trying to make you feel like it's on you. So basically, you would have to watch. This is part 2, because part 1, I'm going to have to go in there and correct it and name it part 1. And this is part 2, because there was a breakage in the internet. So now I'm doing a part 2 right now about it. And I'm talking about how there's a war, just in case you ain't listen. But yeah, man, look, they put $100,000 out on the head of whoever dumped on those 2 police officers in LA. If a nigga come and testify, you a Sambo ass nigga. Cause you want that $100,000. And then somebody should put $5,000 on a nigga who tell here and go get that nigga too. Cause the blue line don't never break their silence. So why the fuck should we break ours? And they wanted to be a black person so fucking bad. Because they feel like, oh, woe is us. They killed a law enforcement officer. I don't give a fuck about that shit. What the fuck does that got to do with niggas being killed on the street? At the hands of police officers and law enforcement. I don't want to hear that shit. And then a motherfucker want to talk about Black Lives Matter. And let's get on the NBA for a second. I got to get back on these niggas for a second. These niggas with this go vote shit. That's why I had to get on Kamala Harris one good time. If one more nigga tell a nigga to go vote, man, get the fuck away from me, man. Fuck a vote. Vote for what? Niggas is getting killed. They more concerned about these law enforcement. No, they need to be equally concerned about all these niggas that y'all roughing up and beating the shit out of. Like Roderick Walker, who y'all fucked up. Because he didn't have an ID. I can see even have an ID. You said, you know what? Then why you just say, I need your first and last name and your social? They can look you up like that. I remember one time I didn't have my ID, and my Jewish homeboy, when I was in that production crew, he took me home, and this is when they was doing a remodeling. This is 20 years ago. They was remodeling Washington on the west side. When you get off the 95 on Washington, in between the 95 in Washington and MLK, all the way up damn near past what they was remodeling the underground. So I don't know what they was doing. They was remodeling the aqueducts or whatever. So we had to get off on D and then cross over Washington or go around Washington, because you couldn't even take Washington, that part of it, because it was so fucked up right there. So we had to take the back way. Well, on the west side, it's dope fiends and shit over there. It's the west. This is the west, 20 years ago. So it's fucked up over there. This is before all the remodeling and all this other shit going on. So motherfucker pull us over. We come to the 4-way stop sign. I told this story before. He pulled us over. And I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, bro, watch what you say, man, because these niggas gonna get to tripping. So it was a black cop and a white cop. The black cop didn't really say too much. They just shining the light. He was like, where y'all going? And my white Jewish homeboy was like, oh, I'm taking him home. He's like, where y'all coming from? And immediately he's like, from my house. And he was just like, okay, you got your driver's license and ID? He was like, yeah, I got my driver's license and insurance. But we pull it out. Then the dude was like, where's your ID? I was like, man, I don't have my ID on me because I'm not driving. He's like, why don't you have your ID? I was like, because I'm not driving. And I don't have a wallet. And I want to lose my driver's license. So I'll leave it here. And just in case, if I'm driving, then I'll take it. If I'm not driving, I don't take my ID at the time. And he was just like, yeah, but you need to have it. I said, well, I don't have it. Do you want my first and last name? And he was like, all right, hold on a minute. Then he's looking at the other driver. And then he, my Jewish homeboy, he was just like, so where y'all coming from again? He said, man, from my house. He's like, and where do you live at? He told him where he lived. He lived off of Tropicana, Pecos and Harmon. He lived over there. And some condos over there. And if anybody familiar with Vegas. So they're like, so what you doing over here? He said, I'm taking him home. He said, well, where does he live? He said he lives right over there on that other street. He said, so you don't know where he lives? I said, man, I live on Adams and H, right there. And he was like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. I was like, all right, here we go. And he was like, what does it matter? I'm coming home. I'm taking him home and then I'm going home. He's like, and what are you guys coming from out for? He's like, that's none of your business. I was like, hey, bro, chill out, man. And he was just like, so you always take him home this time? He was like, look, man, I'm bringing him home and I'm going home. Then he asked my white Jewish homeboy, well, your eyes look a little dilated, your pupils look dilated. He said, that's because I have prescribed medications that I take, which is none of your business also. And the cop was like, okay, so what's your first and last name? I said, and I told him. And he said, okay, so where do you live at? And then my white Jewish homeboy said, I've been trying to tell you that he lives right there. And I told him where I lived at the time. And he pulled it up and he was like, oh, that's right over the corner, right? He was like, oh, that's not even 30 seconds away. He's like, why are you guys going this way? My white Jewish homeboy said, bro, because the fucking street is tore up. We can't drive on Washington. He said, man, he's been trying to tell you that the whole time. And I was trying to tell him, look, we're coming this way because that street is tore up. Oh, well, you guys need to figure out another way. He was like, what do you mean we need to figure out another way? And I was like, look, bro, just leave it alone. So after 30 minutes of him having us pulled over, and he allegedly checked my homeboy's driver's license and registration and all this other shit. Then he brought it back and he was just like, okay, well, I'm going to give you guys a warning and all that. And my white Jewish homeboy was like, give me a warning for what? I didn't do anything. He was like, yeah, well, you know, at that stop, he said, I came to a full stop. What are you talking about? You never said you even pulled me over for that. And he's like, oh, well, and then let me tell you what he ended up asking us. Do you guys got any water on you? Crank? Black tar heroin, all this other shit. And I was like, nah, man. I don't do no drugs, man. And he was like, well, like I said, your pupils are dilated. He said, man, I have prescription. And he had the prescription on him because his pops used to tell him to carry it on him. He said, here's my prescription right here. Not that I need to let you see it. And he looked at it again. He was like, I've had this prescription since I was 11 years old. And then he was just like, okay, well, I'll just make sure because there's a lot of drugs. I said, man, I live over here, man. I know what goes on over here, man. We don't ever drive down the street unless we absolutely have to. And the only reason why he didn't pull us out of the car because there was a white person with us. Now, he probably thought that he was taking me to a trap house or I was giving him some drugs because he was white. But my Jewish homeboy at the time was so coherent and so alert and so on his shit. I don't think that white police officer really knew. He didn't really understand. He couldn't believe it. So, you know, I was like, nah, I don't do no drugs. He's like, dude, we make beats. He's like, what do you mean we make beats? Producers like music? We don't do no drugs, man. And then finally, after about 30 minutes of having us parked with the lights on and everything, he finally let us go. And I was like, look, man, next time, just get off on MLK. Don't even get off on D Street no more. Yup, and we never got off on D Street again. He was like, that's some fucking bullshit. He kind of was getting aggressive with the cops. And I had to explain to him, look, you white, you can do that. I'm black. I cannot do that, man. Man, for real. I have to check out Tariq right after you. We are here to support all of our black media. That's a fact. I'm just finishing up. I'm about to finish up and get off right now. That's it. But hey, man, I'm telling you right now, there's a war on us. I gave you 2 instances of being pulled over. I've just played a couple of instances of black folks getting killed. I mean, getting killed and not just getting killed, getting beat the fuck up like those 2 young brothers that got beat the fuck up at the skating rink. This is war on us. So don't let these police officers or law enforcement take the narrative and be like, oh, it's war on law enforcement. No, it's war on black folk. They just got y'all thinking it's war on them. And don't let them take the narrative, man. I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, play this for anybody that you know that's on the same shit. Shout out to everybody that's out there. Man, sorry about the motherfucking outage from the goddamn internet. That shit wasn't on me, nigga. I paid my bill. Glad you are good from that situation. I know, man. For real, for real. I look, that's why now I ride solo. I don't really like people in my car at all. I don't like a lot of people in my car. I don't know what you have. I don't feel like going through that shit. You know, I'm creeping on a come up when I'm in my whip. I don't really like to tell a whole lot of people where I'm going. I don't like people ride with me because I know the danger that it brings. Because everybody doesn't understand what it brings. And some people, they're used to the danger and they like it. So they don't care. They don't mind doing the tango with police, law enforcement. You know, I ain't got time for that shit. So my L's be on straight. I don't be riding around dirty and shit like that, man. I make sure all my shit is up to par because I don't want no issues with these law enforcement. And I know what they do. Me too. Not no Uber. It's all about energy and what it attracts. That's a fact. And that's why for the most part, for the majority of the time that I've been in Vegas, and I'll tell you this right now, I have learned over the course of being in situations like that, you know, with maturity comes wisdom sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it comes from you bumping your head. Well, as I got older, I learned, like, you know what? I don't want a whole bunch of motherfuckers in my car like that because that just brings the wrong shit. Now, you can put some smoke on your windows where motherfuckers can't really see who you got in your car, but you still better drive and be making sure that you on a mission and you're not just riding around and getting it with a whole bunch of people. lot of times, man, you just attracting the wrong type of energy. And I've been like that the last probably like, I would say 4 or 5 years where I go everywhere by myself. As far as like to the store or ride around or go to Zia Records or buy music and stuff like that. I like to be by myself, man. I don't like a lot of motherfuckers in my car. I don't like going places with a whole bunch of people. For what? For what? All you doing is attracting the wrong energy. Especially if you got people that just want a whole bunch of people around just to have a whole bunch of people around. Now, when I was younger, I didn't have no problem with that. 10 years ago, I like having a whole bunch of people with me. You know, it was entertaining. You know, but I would say the last 4 or 5 years, I've really been kind of like, nah. Because, man, when you get pulled over by the police, you got a whole bunch of niggas with you. Oh, my God. You should see all these police. They so scared. They shaking. And they just want, they shoot first and then ask questions later. And that's the thing. This is war on black folk. This is not war on law enforcement. Man, for all y'all know, it could have been a CIA agent that did that to start some shit. Because let me tell you something. The CIA and FBI, they don't allow regular law enforcement to know what the fuck they got going on. They're never telling the local police department what the fuck they got going on. They're never gonna tell them that. They're gonna keep that shit under their hat. So I'm telling you this right now, man. You don't know who did that. That could have been, look, man, that could have been a gaslighting situation. Well, let's gaslight this shit and get this shit started. You don't know who the wielder behind that fire is. Just like Eric Holder, who shot and killed Nipsey Hussle. See, they didn't like Nipsey. See, LA law enforcement wants everybody to think that they were cool with Nip. They couldn't stand Nip. They didn't like Nip. They didn't like his energy. They knew Nip was not dumb. They knew Nip was very intelligent and very up on his money game when it came to buying property and all that. They wanted his ass to fuck up out of there. So they used an angry, bitter, hateful Sambo coon ass nigga who was envious of him from the very beginning and knew he was gonna catch him slipping because he knew Nip felt like since that was his hood, nothing was gonna happen to him. That's why you have to understand this, man. You have to understand this. You look at the Master P situation with C Murder. You know, that's family business. And a lot of people are getting involved in that family business and they don't understand what P has probably told and mentored and told everybody in his family. When you got money, you can't. It's almost like you around a whole bunch of people that don't work and then you the only nigga that get the job and you get the good paying job. Now, either those people are going to get up and go get the good paying job with you or they going to sit back and expect you to give them bread off that good paying job. And now what those people do with that money, you can't control. Some people might do the right thing with their money and invest their money. Some people might go spend it on shit. But the people that go invest, you can't be mad at those people that go invest and the people that don't go invest. You can't be like, well, they went to go. Everybody thinks differently. So you got to understand, man, you have to change your mentality. That's why a lot of times I don't like a lot of people ride with me because I've learned that over the years of being pulled. People don't know that because I don't tell those stories all the time. But that bitch I was with, she remember that shit. That shit, I'll never forget what I had on. I had like navy blue Nike sweats on with some Air Max and a t-shirt. We was coming from that Carl's Jr. that used to be on MLK in Charleston. I remember I'll never forget it. And I had a double Western bacon burger with cheese, with extra large crisp cut fries, and a large Sprite. Nigga, don't tell me, nigga, I remember that shit to the T. Because I remember shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I had a bad experience with police officers every time. I remember one time I got pulled over in LA in the 90s with my little god brother. I was coming from a wedding and I had food and you could smell the food. The food was bomb. I forgot whose wedding it was. I think it was I don't know if it was my guy, it was my cousin Stacy's wedding. I don't know it was somebody's wedding. And I came from and I had food and that shit smelled good as fuck. And I remember he pulled me over and I was swerving because the panel lights wasn't working. I was like, damn, Keon, the panel light's not working. And I was kind of swerving trying to get it. He pulled us over and we was dressed, you know, you could tell we was dressed like we was come from somewhere. And then he saw all the plastic, you could smell the food when we rolled down the window. And when he rolled down the window, he said, he didn't even ask for it. I had my license registration. He said, I pulled you over because you was swerving. Y'all all right? I said, yeah, man, it's my panel, my lights is dim. And he looked and he said, turn it on. I'll never forget it. And he said, yeah, that is kind of dim. And then I tried to turn it on. He said, yeah, you might have to get that replaced. He said, but your lights are working on outside. it was a white dude. It was a straight white dude. I'll never forget that shit. And he smelled the food. He said, where y'all coming from? And I said, man, we coming from a wedding. He said, yeah, man, I can smell the food. And we started laughing. And I said, he was like, man, I don't need your license and registration. He said, I just saw you swerving, so I wanted to make sure you hadn't been drinking it. And I said, oh, nah, man, I don't even drink. And he said, okay, well, hey, man, y'all have a good night. And he left. So I'm not finna sit up here front like I've had all bad experiences, but I would say the majority of my experiences have been bad. Straight up. That was like the only good one. All the rest of them have been bad. They haven't been good ones. And they've been white, racist motherfuckers that basically on some, give me a reason why I can shoot your ass or do something fucked up to you. So I'm just telling y'all right now, be on y'all P's and Q's and stop thinking that this war is not being waged on black folk, because it is. And it's never gonna stop. We gotta make it stop. So stop hoping and praying and crying and, oh, Lord Jesus, stop, oh no. And then when they put the camera in your face, oh, well, you know, I'm praying for the police officers too. Stop, because they're not praying for you. So, hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, I'm your boy, Warren G. Clown free, sucker free since 2003. This is No I Don't Know TV. Hey, man, look, let me tell you something. You know what it is. If you're out there dealing with motherfuckers that's out there sandballing guilty, nigga, I'm out. Peace.
Thank you.